Eve, my sister Lindy, and a gaggle of nephews, too many to mention. They're here because they love this amazing project as much as I do, and they follow its progress just as avidly as I do. My dad Ted, who loved New Mexico and who's sadly no longer with us, I know will be looking down from above with a twinkle in his eye and laughter in his voice, claiming he got to space before all of us. And here's to you, Dad. So, getting back to my reasons of heightened excitement last night. It's been almost a year since I last visited Spaceport America, and I just couldn't wait to see the amazing progress that the team have made. And I haven't been disappointed. Rising out of the desert, glimmering under the intense New Mexican sun, isn't she just one of the most beautiful, striking buildings you've ever seen? If you ask my kids, or indeed any one of my family here today, not to mention my Virgin colleagues, they would tell you that I'm not a great one for looking back. I believe life's too short. There's always so much living to be done in the present. But sometimes, and in particular on such an amazing day as this, a little reflection may not be a bad thing. And it's an excuse for me to tell you a couple of stories. I've always been fascinated by aviation, as I suspect most of you in this room are. Hence my own particular passion for starting and running airlines. Well, it took thousands of years for man to crack that particularly tricky conundrum of heavier-than-air powered flight. But once cracked, only a few decades passed before we had a thriving global commercial aviation industry, transporting literally millions of people safely, cheaply, and in the case of Virgin, enjoyably, around the world. That rapid transformation I've always believed could, and now is, being applied to the commercial manned space industry. Already the parallels are striking. The importance of prizes, the initial market of those who simply wanted the mind-blowing experience of flight itself, and the existence of a small pioneering group of customers. They didn't call them early adopters in those days, but that's what they were, who were willing and able to pay the relatively high initial fares, and by doing so, enabled a new and vibrant industry. The early days of commercial aviation were also punctuated by a few people and organizations who saw the opportunity and they seized it. Two of my favorites, and people I wish we could have done business with, were One Trip of Pan Am and Bill Allen at Boeing. Trip realized that in order to make aviation a genuine mass market, he needed an aircraft of a size and a per mile, per seat running cost that had never been envisaged before, let alone engineered. So in the now legendary conversation between these two men, Trip said to Allen, "If you build it, I'll buy it." And Allen replied, "If you buy it, I'll build it." And that's how we got the Boeing 747. Well, the conversation which led to Virgin Galactic being here at the incredible Spaceport Spaceport America, I'm already trying to rename it, sorry. Today was not that dissimilar. Both Virgin and New Mexico had done their homework, but we knew it stacked up, but a leap of faith was required. In the end, and I hope you will not mind me mentioning your predecessor here, Governor, the then Governor said to me, "If you build me a spaceship, we'll build you a spaceport." And I replied, "Well, I guess if you'll build me a spaceport, then I'm going to build you a spaceship." And we shook hands on it. And that's why it is so significant and wonderful that just a short time later, we're here in a hangar that's been built only to house commercial spaceships. holding today's wonderful event in a building that has been designed purely to serve the needs of private astronauts. Not to mention the world's first commercial manned spaceship and mothership sitting outside. These beautiful ships will shortly be ready to welcome the first of more than 450 people paid up and waiting to fly. Approximately 150 of you who have joined us today. Are you all pinching yourselves? Because I know I am. So anyway, I want to thank New Mexico for that leap of faith and for keeping its word. And I'd personally like to thank you, Governor, for accepting and embracing this project and the possibility it has for creating jobs and inspiring kids here in New Mexico and around the world. Your support and leadership is crucial to the success of this spaceport. And as always, I want to thank our ever-growing family of astronaut customers for their unfailing support and enthusiasm. And welcome our newest flyers, including those terrific scientists and educators who will soon be inspiring the rest of us with their discoveries. Let me just say a few words about Spaceport America, the sensational building which is the exclusive home of Virgin Galactic. Shortly after the conversation I just described, we were talking with the New Mexico team about making a public announcement, and the question of a name came up. Well, the suggestion on the table was the Southwest Regional Spaceport. And after a couple of years, we agreed we were all underwhelmed with that particular idea. And that if this joint project was going to be as significant and as game-changing as we all believed, then something a little bolder was required. So, Spaceport America was born. At that meeting, we also agreed that whatever emerged in this beautiful landscape had to represent the importance and uniqueness of the project. Not only to be a real landmark with iconic architecture, but also something that was at the cutting edge of environmentally sustainable design and a visual complement to the unique buildings and surroundings. Everyone involved in bringing Spaceport America to fruition, from the architects to the construction companies, has risen to that challenge magnificently, and I believe succeeded on every front. We have a building here that is almost invisible from a distance, then appears to rise from the ground as you approach, with no hint of the breathtaking views that await as you enter the astronaut lounge. The building has achieved the LEED Gold standard using local materials and regional construction techniques. And we have minimized energy requirements through the use of geothermal heating and cooling and extensive energy management practices. Simply put, it's a 21st century building for a 21st century business. Well, in a moment, we'll be going back outside to dedicate and name the building. Before we do, just one last story. Way back in the 1980s, Virgin bought, I always get that word wrong, sorry, Virgin bought an old Victorian terraced house in London's Mayfair. I'm not sure it was the best deal we ever did, but this house became the home to many Virgin startup businesses. And among other things, it got a solid reputation from the staff who worked there over the years for being haunted. But when we started Virgin Galactic, we decided that this same house would be ideal for the small team who were working to get the project off the ground. Not least because the name of the Mayfair street, where this house stands, just happened to be Half Moon Street, number 6 to be precise. So what better address for the world's first space line? So when the New Mexico Space Authority offered us the opportunity of suggesting the name of the road that leads up to the spaceport, well, thank you, Buzz. Thank you. Come up here. I'm sure you guessed where it's going. Welcome to number 1, Half Moon Street, New Mexico. So, anyway, I'm not sure whether we brought the ghost with the name, but I suspect we brought a few UFOs, but we'll see. But anyway, I think if you'd all like to come outside, we'll name this spaceport. I think we're going to go out there and to the front of the building again. But thanks very much for being here. Cheers.